Good morning. Today I'll be discussing about the quantum mechanics and the applications. So the topics that we will discuss, that is, firstly I'll discuss about the time dependent Schrodinger equation. Then I'll go for the postulates of the quantum mechanics. Then I'll go for the time dependent Schrodinger equation and its dynamical equation of quantum state. Then I'll go for the properties of wave function. Then what is interpretation of the wave function and the probability current density in 3 dimension. Then I will go for the condition of physical acceptability of the wave function. Then I will go for the normalization, and after that linearity and superposition principle. Then how to find out the eigenvalues and the eigenfunction. Then I will go for the commutator of position and momentum operator, and how to find out the expectation value of the position and the momentum. So firstly I'll discuss about the Schrodinger equation, one-dimensional Schrodinger equation. So it is one-dimensional Schrodinger equation. So in the one-dimensional Schrodinger equation, as you know that that wave nature, that is an inherent property of every particle. So every particle is represented by a wave function, and that wave function, it is a function of position and time. So this wave function, it determines all that can be known about the system it represents. So for a particle whose mass is m, whose energy is E, and momentum is P. So if its mass is m, energy is P, and the momentum is represented by P. So firstly we'll talk about this, as you know that de Broglie relation. De Broglie relation is lambda equal to h by p. Then we know that Planck's formula, that is frequency of the radiation equal to E by h. Number 3, that the total energy of the particle, that is E equal to P square by 2m plus V xt. So total energy is the sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy. Kinetic energy equal to half mv square, and that half mv square, it is written as in the form P square by 2m plus V, and this is for all x and t, all position in the time. This is the total energy. Then number 4, we'll consider the Schrodinger equation. This it must be linear. Now what does it mean? If you consider that one wave function is psi 1, so let us take one wave function psi 1 xt and another wave function psi 2 xt. If you sum these two, that is c1 psi xt plus c2 psi 2 xt, these are two constant, and if you add these two, then this is also linear. Linear. So the linear property, it is satisfied in the Schrodinger equation. So the Schrodinger equation, it must be of degree 1. So if you write down its total energy of the particle by using this de Broglie relation and the Planck's formula, we write down E equal to P square by 2m plus V xt. Now what is E? E equal to h mu. So E equal to h mu. So this is h by 2 pi into 2 pi mu. You are dividing numerator and denominator by 2 pi. So h by 2 pi it is h bar, and 2 pi mu it is omega. And similarly this p square, if we take p square, we can write down p equal to similarly p will be h bar into k, where k equal to 2 pi by lambda. This is the wave vector, inverse of the wavelength. So this is the wave vector. Now you put these two from the Planck's formula and from the your de Broglie relation and the Planck's formula. You put these two value here in this equation. So what you will get? E equal to h omega. So it is h omega equal to p square by 2m, p equal to hk. So h square k square by 2m plus potential energy Vxt. Now if you consider this wave function, if we consider this wave function psi xt in this form, a e to the power I kx minus omega t, that is where k is the wave vector and omega is the frequency. So it is multiplied with the x, that the distance, and omega multiplied with the t. So if you find out this, if you take the derivative with respect to t, so del psi xt by del t, so it will be minus I omega a e to the power I kx minus omega t. So it will be minus I omega psi xt, right? So psi xt will be how much? I omega, it will come to this side and it will be divided. So you will be getting will be getting psi equal to I by psi xt. No, I omega psi, right? We keep it here. So then what will get if you find out the double derivative with respect to position? So del square psi by del x square equal to this ik, it will come twice, so it will be minus k square and psi, or k square equal to, you can write down k square equal to psi, it come this side, so it will be minus 1 by psi xt and del square psi by del t square, del square psi by del t square. So you can write down this this formula, that in the total energy equation, so write down total energy equation. The total energy equation E equal to h omega. So it will be h omega, which is equal to p square by 2m. So it is h square k square by 2m plus Vxt. So this h omega, this is written as I h del psi xt by del t. This is the first derivative with respect to time. This wave function, we have taken first derivative with respect to time multiplied with IH, that is equal to h square k square by 2m. We have got the value of the k and put it here. So it will be minus h square by 2m, and then it will be del square psi xt by del x square plus Vxt, right? So so what do you get? That is Vxt and psi xt. So this is the Schrodinger equation in one dimension, that what we get by considering these four things. One is de Broglie wavelength, lambda equal to h by p. Secondly, we get from the frequency of the radiation, that is the Planck's formula, E by h. Then number 3, total energy E equal to p square by 2m. P square by 2m plus V potential energy, and 4, we considered that Schrodinger equation is holds for the linearity relation. So these 4 things combinedly together, we get the Schrodinger equation in one dimension. Of course, if you write down in the 3 dimension, then it becomes IH del psi by del t. Del psi, this is r and t, which is equal to minus h square by 2m, this is del square psi r t plus v r t and psi r t. So this is the Schrodinger equation in the 3 dimension. Instead of x, we are writing x, y, z, so it is replaced by the position vector, then the space coordinate. Here it is replaced by the Laplacian operator del square psi r t plus v t sine. So this is the non-relativistic time dependent Schrodinger equation. This is non-relativistic Schrodinger. This is time dependent equation, wave equation. So this is the non-relativistic Schrodinger time dependent equation, because on the left hand side the first derivative of the time is there, so it is considered to be the Schrodinger time dependent equation. Now we'll discuss about the statistical representation of the wave function. So next, statistical interpretation of the wave function. Interpretation of wave function. So at any instant t, if you make any measurement to locate the object, and that is be represented by the psi xt. It gives the total information about the system. So then we represent that statistically, that is being understood in terms of the probability. So that is p x t into dx. Dx means if we want to find out a position of the particle within the x and x plus dx, so this is the distance dx where we are interested to find out. So the probability of finding the particle will be pxt dx. So pxt dx, which is equal to that this probability of finding the particle within the distance dx, which will be calculated in terms of these wave functions. So that is equal to psi star xt psi xt. So psi star xt, this is the complex conjugate of the wave function multiplied with the wave function itself, or this is equal to modulus of psi xt square into dx. So this is the probability density. So probability density, that is equal to wave function modulus of this wave function, square of the modulus of the wave function, and multiplied with the small interval in which we are interested to find out this particle. So probability of finding the quantum mechanical object in a small interval dx, it is given by the product of the complex conjugate of the wave function and the wave function itself. So if you are finding, our interest is to find out this probability of the particle between these two, x2 minus x1. Then we'll add on probability of finding the particle within this length PL equal to, we are integrating from x1 to x2 and then pxt into dx. So that is the probability of finding the particle within the distance dx, where the two limits is given x1 and x2. Then we are coming to the next, linearity. Then we are coming to the linearity, or it is the superposition. Linearity and superposition. As you know that in case of the constructive interference or destructive interference, we find when the two waves superimpose with one another, then if their phases are in the same, then they produce the constructive interference, and if their phases are opposite, then they produce the destructive interference. In constructive interference, we find the amplitude is maximum, and in destructive interference, we find the amplitude is minimum. In the same way, here the linearity shows that linearity property of the Schrodinger equation, if we have two wave functions psi1 xt and psi2 xt, and these two wave functions, they are combined linearly, so the resultant wave function psi xt equal to a1 psi1 xt plus a2 psi2 xt, where a1 and a2, these are the constants. a1 and a2, these are the constant. So summation of these two wave functions, they will also produce a another wave function which is in the linear, and that is the meaning of the superposition. As it happens in the case of the electric field, the electric field produced by the various charges getting superimposed to find out the resultant electric field. Similarly, in quantum mechanics also, all the wave functions are being added. They are added being linearly. So that is the meaning of the superposition, and the resultant wave function, that will also be linear to the each wave functions. So next time coming to the our next topic is what is this? So in this case, this psi xt equal to a1 psi1 and a2 and a2 psi2 xt. We have taken the two wave functions. If you take this psi equal to e to the power I kx minus omega t, so the probability of finding the particle in the whole space, that will be minus infinity to plus infinity, or we can write down the whole space, that is psi star xt and psi xt dx, which is equal to 1, that is at each instant of time. So this so psi xt equal to a1 psi1 xt plus a2 psi2 xt, or if you put here, so this integration psi star xt and psi xt, if I write down here that psi star, so a1 psi1 star plus a2 psi2 star into a1 psi1 plus a2 psi2, and if you integrate it, then that will also be 1. So this psi should be, it has some property. So firstly, this function psi, it should be number 1, it should be finite, and number 2 should have single valued. And everywhere it's the psi should be this wave function psi xt, this should be finite and single valued at everywhere, and that should be square integrable. And square integrable means the modulus of psi xt square is less than dx is less than infinity, or this psi xt it tends to 0 as x tends to infinity. That is the meaning of the square integrable. And number 4, it should have the both psi xt and its derivative, first derivative with respect to x, that should be continuous everywhere. That should be continuous everywhere. That is the acceptability of the wave function in the Schrodinger equation. Next, I'll come to the what is the normalization. Next, I'll go for the normalization. So the normalization means if you integrate the probability of finding the particle over a distance dx which is equal to 1. So we write down psi star xt psi xt dx equal to 1, and you are doing this integration minus infinity to plus infinity, and that is for the each instant of the time. If you take another wave functions minus infinity to plus infinity psi star xt, let us say prime, and it is psi prime xt dx equal to n. That is the normalization constant, that is the norm of the function. So psi prime is the square integrable function. Psi prime is the square integrable function. And where x tends to infinity. So psi can be written in terms of the psi prime, psi equal to psi prime divided by root over n. So n is independent of the time. So the wave function which is normalized at any instant of time, that is normalized at all other times. So this is the meaning of the normalization. So we have to normalize. So if you take one example, let us take a wave function and how it is being normalized. Let us take one example how to find out this normalization constant. Suppose the wave function for a steady state psi x equal to, it is given your n e to the power minus x square by 2. So you have to find out this, calculate the value of the normalization constant. You have to find out the n. So what do you know? That integration minus infinity to infinity, then psi star psi dx equal to 1. So if you put this value here, so it will be n square modulus n square into e to the power minus x square by 2 and minus x square by 2. So it will be integration 0 to infinity, and it will be e to the power minus x square dx, which is equal to 1. Now you put x square equal to t, and if you differentiate 2x dx equal to dt and put these values, so this becomes 0 to infinity, this n square and e to the power minus t and then t to the power minus half into dt. So this is a gamma function which is equal to 1. So we have to find out the value of the n. So modulus of n into this is gamma half equal to root over pi. So this is pi equal to 1. So you are getting modulus of n equal to 1 by root pi. No, n square. So n square equal to 1 by pi. So therefore n equal to 1 by pi whole to the power 1 by 4. So you get the normalization constant of these wave functions for the steady state that is equal to 1 by 5 whole to the power 1 by 4. So this is the way that any wave function which is given to you by putting these conditions that psi star psi dx equal to 1, and if you integrate it from minus infinity to plus infinity, then we will be able to find out this normalization constant. Now we will discuss about the what is probability density. Next we will discuss about the probability current density. Probability current density. Current density. So as you know that this probability of finding the particle that is expressed in terms of the, if you write down this probability of the particle, this PRT into this volume, which is equal to integration psi star psi into d tau. If you take the time derivative d by dt integration PRT d tau, this is volume, which is equal to, this will be integration over this volume del by del t, that is psi star psi to d tau, or integration and the volume. So this is a product of the two functions. So it will be first function psi star del psi by del t plus psi del psi star by del t into d tau. As you know that the Schrodinger equation, that is IH del psi by del t, which is equal to, that is the time dependent Schrodinger equation, minus h square by 2m del square psi plus v psi. So if you multiply psi star this function, and if you take this del psi star, so if you take del psi star minus IH del psi star by del t equal to minus h square by 2m del square psi star plus v psi star. Multiply this with psi star, multiply this with the psi, and subtract it, then we will be getting d by dt, because our interest is psi star del psi by del t plus psi del psi star by del t. So we were getting psi star del psi by del t and psi del psi star by del t. So from this we will get so what we will get d by dt integration at over the volume, that is PRT d tau, this is volume, equal to, we will be getting IH by 2m, and then integration over this volume. So we put it in the outside, integration over the volume. So psi star del square psi minus del square psi star to psi and multiplied with this volume. So this can be written as IH by 2m and then integration over the volume. So psi star this is written as divergence, and then it is psi star, keep outside, so this is psi star and del psi minus this is del psi star psi and d tau. Now this we will change into this this is d by dt. This volume integral changes to surface integral by the Gauss divergence theorem. By the Gauss divergence theorem, that is so this will be, this is can write d by dt integration PRT d tau over this volume. So this is nothing, this is minus of divergence integration of the surface. Now this volume integral changes to surface integral, and there is a divergence, so you are getting minus surface integral and then IH by 2m, so it is IH by 2m, and then it is psi star del psi minus del psi star and psi. So this is nothing, if you so this is nothing, it can be written as, that is, this is Jp, divergence of Jp, this is divergence of Jp plus del p by del t, but this volume equal to 0, integration this volume. So this is we can write down the divergence of Jp plus del p by del t equal to 0, and this PRT, that is your divergence of the J is the current density, and this is your probability current density. So the probability of the particle, this is your Jp, this is your Jp, this is a probability current density, and this is del p by del t, del p by del t. So this is Jp, probability current density, and this is probability density. So it gives the probability of finding the probability of particle passing through a unit cross sectional area normal to the direction of the motion per unit time. So now we will come to the eigenfunction and the eigenvalues. So now we are coming to the eigenfunction and the eigenvalues. Eigenfunction and eigenvalues. So suppose an operator D, that is every observable in quantum mechanics, it is represented by the operator. So operator acts on this wave function, it gives the eigenvalue D and then the function. So this is the eigenvalue eigenfunction equation. D is our operator, phi is your eigenfunction, and D is our eigenvalue. So this is the eigenvalue of the operator, and when this operator acts on this eigenfunction, it gives the eigenvalue. So the Hamiltonian operator acts on this H psi, acts on this wave function, it gives the eigenvalue, that is the energy eigenvalue, and phi. Or this H is the Hamiltonian operator, which consists of the kinetic energy and the potential energy. So it is P square by 2m plus potential energy psi equal to E psi, or P equal to written as in the operator form, this momentum is written in the operator form P equal to minus IH dy dx. So P square, so it becomes minus H square by 2m d square psi by dx square plus V psi equal to E psi. So this is time independent Schrodinger equation, and that is eigen. This is the Hamiltonian operator, and x on this wave function, it gives the energy eigenvalue. So energy eigenvalue which we find out that we get from the when any Hamiltonian operator acts on this wave function. Then I am coming to the orthogonal eigenfunctions. Suppose we have the orthogonal eigenfunction. Orthogonal eigenfunctions. Eigenfunction. So suppose we have a system and more than eigenfunctions, more than one eigenfunction. So in that case, how we'll come to know that orthogonal eigenfunctions. So if we have more than one eigenfunctions for an operator having the same eigenvalue, then all such functions are called degenerate eigenfunction. Degenerate eigenfunctions. Because all have the same eigenvalue, then we will say that degenerate eigenfunction. But eigenfunctions of an operator having the different eigenvalue, then that is known as the non-degenerate eigenfunction. So let us take the non-degenerate eigenfunctions phi and psi, and the operator x and d phi equal to, we are getting one eigenvalue, let us take d1 phi, and operator x on the d psi, you are getting d2 psi. So these two different wave functions, and we are getting two different eigenvalues. So how we will say that it is the non-degenerate. So this is written as you know that in case of the Hermitian operators, the integration of the psi complex conjugate and d operator psi over this volume d tau, which is equal to integration, that is d operator phi star psi into the volume d tau, or this is also written as in the dot product form, that is phi divided by the d psi, which is equal to d psi d phi the psi. So the eigenvalue is normalized to unity, means normalized to unity. So both have the two different eigenvalues. So we can write down that this is d2 phi psi equal to d1 phi psi. So d2 minus d1, so what we can write down, this d2 minus d1, then dot product of these two vectors, that is phi with psi, which is equal to 0. Since d2 is not equal to d1, these two eigenvalues are different, therefore the product of these two functions psi and phi equal to 0. Then we say that these two wave functions are orthogonal to each other, because the eigenvalues are the different. So therefore these two eigenfunctions has to be the product of these two, dot product of these two eigenfunction has to be equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, then we will say that these two eigenfunctions are orthogonal to each other. So their inner product, the dot product, we say that inner product equal to 0, they are said to be orthogonal to each other. So we can say that the two for psi I and psi j, the dot product of these two equal to 0 if I is not equal to j and it is equal to 1 for I equal to j, then these two functions, eigenfunctions, or it is written as delta I j, where I is not equal to j, then it is 0, and I equal to j, it is equal to 1. So these are the orthogonal functions, and they form the delta ij equal to 0 and it is 1. So when it is equal to 0, they are orthogonal, and when it is 1, then it is normalized. So this is orthogonal, and this is normalized. So therefore these two are the orthonormal functions. Orthonormal functions. Now we'll come to the what is the commutator of the position of the momentum operator. So next we will come to the commutator of position and momentum operator. So commutator means we are taking the two variables and take their product, and you change the order of the multiplication and subtract it, and if you subtract it and that is equal to 0, then it is known as the commutating operator. Like if you take the momentum L equal to R cross P, this angular momentum is a product of the position vector and the linear momentum. So if you write down P cross R, then it will be minus L. So if you change the order of the multiplication of the cross product, then the direction gets changed. So in that case, we consider if you take the A and B two operators, if you multiply it AB, then it is BA. Order of the multiplication has been changed. Here the two operators, first you multiply first with the second, then you multiply this second first with the second, and if you take the difference, and if is not equal to psi is not equal to 0, then it is said to be the commutating. So let us take in case of the A is our x and B is your P, momentum. So what I can write down, this is position and the momentum and psi. So this is written as x and Px equal to minus IH del by del x and psi. So it is first into multiplied with the second, so x minus IH del psi by del x, and then it is minus, then minus B, so it will be plus, so IH del by del x, then it is x psi. So it will be minus x IH del psi by del x, and then it will be plus IH. If you take this derivative of x, then it will be getting IH del psi by del x into x, and then plus IH del psi by del x. So these get cancelled. So what you are getting? You are getting IH. So if you write down x and Px, that is you are getting I into H. So these two operators, the position and the momentum, their commutating relation is like this. So next I will be coming to the what is the expectation value of an operator. So next we are coming to the expectation value of an operator. Expectation value of an operator. So expectation value of an operator, if you take the D as a operator, then its expectation value will be equal to it will be integration psi star then d psi dx divided by it is normalized, so that is equal to psi star psi into dx. So this is also written as in the dot product form or inner product form, that is psi d psi divided by psi with psi. So this is the expectation value of the operator or the average value of the operator, that is find out always in terms of these wave functions like this.